Have you ever noticed how people act differently when they know someone is watching, versus when they think no one is? At work, when your boss is around, everything is perfect. At home, when your parents are watching, you're on your best behavior. But the moment they leave, things change. Now here's the real question. Who are you when nobody is watching? Because that's exactly what Jesus was addressing in Gospel of Matthew, chapter 24, when he talked about the faithful and unfaithful servant. Jesus tells a story. A master leaves his house and puts a servant in charge, giving him responsibility over others, trusting him to manage things well. This servant has a choice, not when the master is there, but when the master is gone. The faithful servant keeps doing the right thing, even when it's boring, even when it's unnoticed. Think about it like this. You said you'd grow spiritually, but nobody is checking your prayer life. You said you'd stay disciplined, but there's no accountability. You said you'd be consistent, but the motivation is gone. The faithful servant is the one who says, I'm still going to show up. Not for applause, not for validation, but because it's right. In today's world, that looks like staying honest in a workplace where shortcuts are normal, being kind in a culture that rewards sarcasm and pride, keeping your values even when everyone else is compromising. It's choosing discipline over distraction, purpose over pressure, character over convenience. Now Jesus flips the story. The unfaithful servant says something very subtle, but very dangerous. My master is taking too long. That one thought changes everything, because suddenly, delay starts to feel like permission. Silence starts to feel like absence. Waiting starts to feel pointless. And that's where many people are today. Let's be honest. Sometimes it feels like, God, where are you? Why is nothing changing? Why should I keep trying? And slowly, without realizing it, consistency starts to slip. You stop praying like you used to. You stop caring like you used to. You start living like it doesn't really matter anymore. That's the unfaithful servant, not necessarily bad at the start, just drifting. Here's the thing, the unfaithful servant didn't wake up one day and decide to be reckless. It started with a thought, a mindset, a quiet assumption. And that's how it works today too. Nobody plans to lose discipline. Nobody plans to become careless. It happens slowly. One skipped moment of prayer turns into days. One compromise turns into a habit. One excuse turns into a lifestyle. Before you know it, you're far from where you used to be. Jesus says something very important. The master returns when the servant is not expecting him. That means this story is about readiness, not just behavior. Because it's easy to act right when you know the timing. It's harder to stay right when you don't. And that's the real test. Will you still be faithful when it's taking longer than expected? It feels like no one sees your effort? You're tired of waiting? Let's bring this into real life. Faithfulness today looks like posting content with purpose, not just chasing trends. Doing your work well, even when your boss doesn't notice. Staying true to your values, even when it costs you opportunities. Because character is not built in public. It's revealed there. It's built in private. In the unseen. In the everyday choices no one claps for. So here's the question. If your master showed up today, not next week, not next year, today, what would he find you doing? Still committed? Or slowly drifting? Because the difference between the faithful and unfaithful servant is not talent. It's consistency in the waiting. Stay faithful, even when it's quiet, even when it's slow, even when it's hard. Because what you do in the waiting matters more than you think.